Back live on the National Soccer Network, very special guest, James Thomas of MLS Next and NAL Academy Director at Beadling Soccer Club. James, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
So, James, tell me a little bit about yourself. What's your soccer journey, and how did you end up here at Beadling Soccer Club?
Yeah, my soccer journey started, when I was three. Started as a player, and then kind of transitioned into coaching. I started coaching actually at a pretty young age. I was, 16, 17 when I first started kind of helping to coach a little bit on the youth side. Post college, kind of was doing the youth soccer scene, coaching a few different teams there, and then was fortunate enough to kind of make soccer full time. Now, roughly, it's been 9 or 10 years ago as a director in Cincinnati, and then moved from Cincinnati to Beadling 3 years ago. So I was formerly at King's Hammer as the ECNL director there on the boys' side, and then was able to move to Pittsburgh and become the MLS Academy director here at Beadling.
What are some of your tasks that you have to do as an MLS Next and NAL Academy Director?
It's a wide spectrum there, but main tasks really the creation of the day-to-day environment, working alongside our coaches to ensure our game model, our standards, and things like that, our core values are being upheld. The logistics and the day-to-day management of our leagues, our top three platforms being we have full pathway in MLS Homegrown. We have MLS Academy Division, and then we also have the National Academy League. So just working alongside the rest of our staff here, including our operations staff, our daily coaching staff, our other directors, to make sure that our players are, receiving as much support as they can in their journeys.
I was reading a little bit that you guys were founded in 1898. Didn't even know youth soccer clubs existed in 1898. Take me through some of the history as the oldest youth soccer club in the country.
Well, there's a lot of it there. But yeah, we were founded in 1898. We were actually an amateur club. 1898. We have a heavy alignment with the coal mining population within Western Pennsylvania. A lot of immigrants moving into the area, bringing that passion for soccer with them. Started out as an amateur club. We actually won won a national championship in the amateur division, and I think it might have been 54. And then we became a full-time youth soccer club in the 1980s. So our club president has actually been the same president since we've been a full-time youth club, Denny Kohlmeyer. There's been a Kohlmeyer associated with the club since the inception in 1898. So a lot of history, rooted in Beadling. I've only been here actually 3 years myself, but one of the first things that they kind of instill in you is the history of the club and making sure that you understand there's a lot of passion surrounding the Beadling name here in Western PA.
That's amazing. A whole family running a whole youth soccer club. You mentioned that a little bit of core values a little bit ago. What are your guys' core values?
So our core values, we talk a lot about them within our programming. We use an acronym with it. We call it the Grail. So our core values are gratitude, respect, accountability, integrity, and leadership. We try and kind of instill those in everything we do, try and talk about those daily with the boys. We try and live them, not just on the field, not just words on a diagram, but try and talk with them about those things often.
So what age group does Beadling Soccer Club start at?
We go all the way down to U7 and U8. We also have a training program called 1898 Skills that goes down, I think, even less than that within the age groups that they kind of cater to. But our formal team process, that kind of starts at the 7-8 range there.
So do you guys kind of start off at a younger age, and then once you kind of get into just for an example, maybe you get to 13, 14, 12, whatever the age is, then you kind of break out into the different type of select teams or academy teams?
Yeah, so our structure is built off of, there's a base, and then it kind of, obviously goes up into the pyramid. So we have a north, an east, a south, and a west site that starts within the Academy Foundation programs. 6, 7, 8, up to 12. And then at 12, it goes into a bit more of a higher level in the pyramid. So 11 and 12, we have pre-MLS, we have pre-GA that brings all kids from those sites together. And then the formal, kind of what we call our national platform. So GA on the girls' side, and then MLS Next, Homegrown, Academy, NAL. Those start at 13. So those are kind of our national platforms that bring all four of those sites together. And then we still have the sites that operate from 13 and above in their their own geographical locations. So it's kind of just like the pyramid that runs parallel within that feeds into the highest level platforms for us.
So, what is the difference between NAL Academy and your guys' MLS Next?
Really, just the level that the players play at. We the standards and what we try and do with the players kind of is very similar. There's 3 days a week training. It's a regional platform, but MLS Homegrown being the highest level for the youth player on the boys side, our GA, being the equivalent on the girls side. Just the standards that come with that. For Homegrown, it is a little bit different because it's a 10-month programming for 13 through 19, so they don't play high school soccer. For Academy Division, 7-month program. But once those programs are going, we try and treat them very similar as far as the standards and the training habits and things that we do with them. It's just about the level of the league itself and the platform that those players play in.
So, do a lot of your players, once they graduate, I guess, from high school or whatever it is, do a lot of them kind of go into other MLS academies, USL academies, college? Or what do most of your guys' alumni kind of go towards?
Most of our alumni go into play in college. It's a very high percentage that come out of those top 3 platforms that go on to play in college. This year was actually our first. We got full pathway within MLS last year. This year was our first graduating class of seniors. So I believe we had 14 seniors that are graduating from our homegrown class from that class. Overall, I believe we're right at around 75% out of those top 3 platforms that are going on to play in college. So very, very high number of those guys going in there. The other piece when we think about graduating, because I know you mentioned like other MLS academies.
Yeah.
Obviously, we want to be able to push kids into true MLS academies. We've pushed kids on to 8 or 9 other academies throughout the years that we've had MLS Homegrown. FC Cincinnati. We just had a kid that went to Orlando City, Philadelphia Union, New York Red Bulls. We had a player that signed a homegrown deal with the Red Bulls after coming out of Beadling. So, that's something we're very, very proud of as well. So, it's not just graduating into college. If we can push those players into those professional setups as well, we definitely welcome that and want to help those players there too.
So MLS Next doesn't mean necessarily they're going into an MLS academy, correct?
Not necessarily, no.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah, those players play in the same conference as the MLS academies with the homegrown. The Academy Division is that next tier right below it. So no, MLS Next Homegrown, they can come through and play with us from 13 to 19, or some of them might have the opportunity to break into another more formal pro MLS academy.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification there. Appreciate it. Do your guys' alumni come back, maybe help with that? Maybe because you guys have been around for such a long time. Do some of your alumni come back and coach, maybe be coaches of some teams, maybe be some directors of some teams, or does your alumni give back at all?
Yeah, no, it's that's a great question because it is a very passionate. Like a lot of people have a lot of pride in Beadling. We have a lot of coaches. We actually did our social media team just did a post. I mean, maybe it was a month ago or 2 months ago, where a lot of our parents, a lot of the parents of current players that played at Beadling, they were highlighted in the post.
Really?
And a lot of those parents currently also coach at different levels within the club. We currently still have directors in the club that played for the club. My first time meeting Denny, walk in, meeting people, and he said, "Oh, that's a guy, class of 72, class of 84, class of." So, I mean, it's something that I know the club takes a lot of pride in.
Yeah.
Alumni come back, they give back. We try and try and highlight them, like I said, with the with the social media pieces and things like that. And yeah, definitely, it's a two-way street on that piece.
Should have asked how many teams do you guys have? How many kids do you have playing in your guys' club?
Total teams, I don't know that I can give you an answer on that. I know we're roughly right around 1,800 players.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's a pretty sizable club. So yeah,
Do
that's a rough number.
does each age group have multiple different teams? Then I take it.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
we do have, yeah, across all those across the silos, across the platforms. We do service a lot of players in each age group. I think that's something that Beadling always has wanted to be able to do is provide a home, provide a platform for a player, no matter the skill level, no matter the background, that we want to find you a home.
If a kid could enter Beadling from the earliest it can, let's say just U7, get it all the way out, they get that guy or girl make it all the way to the end and eventually go into college or wherever they go. What are a couple takeaways and maybe life lessons that you would want that player to take in their time at Beadling?
Mm, it's a great question. I go back to kind of relying on our core values there, right? I think that's always, that's your North Star. That's where you want to instill as much as you can. So I think the biggest two for me would be gratitude and accountability, that we talk about so often. So I think being thankful to be able to do what they do, being thankful
Yeah.
to be able to play the game, being thankful that they've been able to play it at any level, right? But we obviously talk a lot about that with our highest level platforms, so being able to play at a high level, but just giving back to the game, giving thanks to being able to do it. And then I think the piece that hopefully sticks with players is that accountability, right? Taking accountability for their actions on and off the field. The core values aren't just about on the field, but it's more of the holistic piece that we want to tie together as directors and coaches. So the accountability of what they've done on the field, what they've done off the field. We on the boys' side especially, we talk about sweep the shed, right? So it's just something we try and instill at a young age of picking up after yourself, of even if it's not yours, of making sure you leave something better than you found it. So those different little pieces that we can instill at young ages, and hopefully carry through to 18, 19. So important, right? In trying to make sure that we're creating better people, not just better soccer players.
You say sweep the shed?
Yeah,
I
it's
like that.
not ours.
Okay.
It's actually All Blacks, New Zealand rugby. That's,
Okay.
yeah, it's something we kind of took from them and kind of put it into place a little bit. We talk about it a little bit, just picking up after yourself, of making sure that you're leaving it better than you found it. So I'm not taking credit for it, but
I
we're
like it
obviously
though.
all not reinventing the wheel here.
I like it. I like that. I like that. That phrase. As a director, are you involved at all in potentially like maybe kind of like coaching philosophies, or also involved in like training schedules, or maybe this player should be here by this age, anything like that?
Yeah, so yeah, myself and the other directors, but especially on the boys' side, I'm involved in a lot of those types of decisions. A lot of looking at our rosters. It's funny you mentioned that, because we've had a ton of conversations recently because we're going through tryouts right now,
Mm,
right? So speaking with the coaches on player placement, speaking with the coaches on where we see players playing, their profiles, especially as we get into the college age groups, about how we manage the rosters, is so important. As far as the coaching philosophy, the playing philosophy, like we have a game model. It's an ever changing document that we're always kind of looking at, in trying to figure out how we create the best players possible that fit our style, that fit our demographic as well. Because it's not just something I've been in Cincinnati, I was at another club there, I can just do the same things. Can't rinse and repeat that because we're in different areas, right? So working with our other directors, working closely with staffs on both sides, girls and boys side, on what kind of players we want to create, what kind of values we want to have. I think those are also important things. And then getting down into the weeds of the decisions that we make for our players is so important. I want to be a hands-on director, just as I know our president wants to be hands-on. Our other directors, our coaches, they all take a very invested interest in the outcome of players.
I I like that you mentioned the evolving philosophy document, because sometimes maybe again, different sports, like certain football teams, like they always just want to run the football or anything like that. And with you guys being a club that's been around for such a long time, I like that you kind of evolve with the times a little bit. You guys don't have like a set way. So you guys kind of evolve like as each year as everything kind of goes on.
Yeah, we definitely reflect on what we're doing, how we're doing it. And that, like we look at that on an age group basis, right? So we have different bands of age groups that we look at. So, if we're creating a certain type of player at 17 or 18, we want to look at, okay, well, does that start at 11 and 12? So looking at those types of things, looking at how the game changes, I think is also important in any type of philosophy that a club's going to have. Youth development, there's a lot of different ways to do it. People across the world are doing it in different ways. And we want to be, up to date on those things, right? So just part of the education, as far as the philosophy, as far as that evolving, that's why is we want to make sure that we are providing the best we can for our players.
What makes Beadling Soccer Club different from everybody else?
That's a great question. I think, I just think, remembering the past, and celebrating it, but also having an eye towards the future and where we're going. You can't be a club that's been around since 1898 and not embrace your past, but you also have to make sure that you're looking to try and evolve and take those next steps. And I think that's something that we are trying to truly invest in. The history of the club is amazing, and it's great, because when I first got here and I would tell people I work for Beadling, they'd be like, oh yeah, I knew this person or that person. Yeah. And there's always somebody that has a tie to it. But then also trying to make sure that we are looking towards the future, offering our players the best we can, raising the bar, raising the level. I think that kind of is something that not everybody has, right? Especially in the world where youth clubs change and merge and everything happens on a year-over-year basis, but we're able to kind of embrace both of those things.
How have you seen the game of soccer just overall in the country grow?
Access. That's the first word that comes to my mind, is just the access that kids have to the game as compared to when I was younger, and then even further back. You just have access to so many more matches, so many more consumption points for the players. I think the other piece of that as well is for the coaches. There's just so much more access to trainings, to videos, to just resources. So it's a matter of helping coaches, helping players in how you manage that consumption and access to everything, how you make sure it's streamlined so that we're getting the best use of it, right? The video tools, we're not, videoing every game across the youth platforms and things like that. That wasn't around. So that's why that word to me comes so prevalent in this, is the access you have to everything.
All right. Last question. I end every interview with the same exact question. James, if you could see any artist or band at a live concert, dead or alive, who are you going to choose and why?
Oh my goodness. Oh man, so many people pop into my head, but I think when you put the dead or alive caveat in there, I think I go Michael Jackson.
Ooh,
just because he was one of the greatest performers ever, and there's so many memories I have of just different things with him in it. I think, I feel like that'd just be such an amazing show. My parents saw him live, so I think I'd have to go with that one. Yeah.
Did you go see the movie?
I have not gone to see the movie yet. No.
So I was asking. I was hoping maybe you watched it, because I'm looking forward to it.
No, not yet. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, James. Anything you'd like to add before we go?
No, thank you for having me on. I appreciate the time. Appreciate the the platform to talk about the club and talk about the game. And I wish you guys the best with everything you guys are doing for the game. And it's greatly appreciated just getting the game out there. Even though I talked about the access, the more that we can do for the game, the better.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, James. Appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend some time with me. That is James Thomas, MLS Next and NAL Academy Director at Beadling Soccer Club.